Hey everybody, it's Tara Green here. I guess I was just last minute rushing to put out some words that, there we go. Hey everybody, okay, now I can see myself live. All right, so hi everybody, it's Tara Green. It is World Tarot Day. I put out a little bit of PR for this. I've been very busy the last few days. So want to welcome you. I think there was a little bit of a mix up in the timing here when I posted this because it was sort of, I don't know, doing something with Melbourne time. But anyway, I am here. So if you find me, I hope you find me. It is a bit late. It is 10:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. But on principle, excuse me, on principle, I want to tell me if anybody's on there. No, I don't see any comments. Let's see. I'm waiting for some people to come on like I usually do. So hang on, let me just see if I can watch myself here on Facebook while I'm doing this so I can see what's happening. There we go. Okay, I can see myself there. All right. So the reason I'm doing this so late is because it is late and I have been running around all day. I just came back from reading astrology charts actually with another reader of mine who was doing tarot readings at a corporate event tonight for Manulife. Big thing that they were having. So, and I got home a bit later than I thought, and I was leaving myself time. But on principle, because of my Virgo South Node, I wanted to make sure that I did celebrate World Tarot Day. Now, the background, what is World Tarot Day and where did it start? World Tarot Day was started by a lady, by a lady named Den Elder, who used to write about the tarot way back when, in the beginning of when tarot was really starting to become a thing. And that was in 2003, which was 23 years ago. You know, and time is flying. We know that, right? So I had come across her. I think I was following her. I had a newsletter for her from her, something like that. And I decided that I was going to start celebrating World Tarot Day because I'd been a professional or a semi-professional reader since 1991, and then I just decided I wanted to do this. So I put out some PR, and I sent out some newsletters or whatever, and to different newspapers and things in Toronto, Canada, where I am. And the Toronto Sun, which is a conservative, kind of usually poo-poos that kind of thing newspaper, picked it up, and I was reading at this place called the Gypsy Co-op, where I used to read every Saturday night. I remember I was there in the early 2000s actually, and another place. And so I said that I would be there, and so I met with this reporter, Mike Strobel, who was very skeptical but asked me a lot of questions, and I explained what the tarot was, and I got a big splash, a big PR in the Toronto Sun, and then he started to use me regularly in his columns and things. So I was always called upon to do Academy Award predictions and things like that. But anyway, so to honor the tarot and the wisdom of the tarot, I, in principle, need to give my gratitude back to what the tarot is. And there's been so much more. I'm just trying to get my smudge working here. So much more in research and insight into the history of the tarot. I think there's sort of some new version of it all the time. So without further ado, I hope everybody's okay. Hi, Susan. I'm going to say hi to some people. Susan in BC. Sorry, my nose is running. It's allergy season here. If you want to say hi, let me know where you're from. I'm going to start like usually. You know me, I do my usual where I talk about the astrology, you know, and today was a very intense day. It was that Mars-Pluto square. I haven't really looked at the news all day. I did do the astrocartography. Someone had mentioned that I did do the astrocartography of the day with the planetary lines, and I wrote about that on my blog at infinitynow.wordpress.com. So if you want to go see that, configuring where Mars and Pluto were hitting over the world, okay? But without further ado, let us get down to the tarot. So I'm going to start with Aries, of course. And the way I do this is I shuffle the cards and then I intuitively pick a card for you. So I am using my Thoth tarot deck. This is my go-to tarot deck that I started with way back when. So yeah, as we're getting into really just getting used to this new era with Neptune in early Aries and Saturn moving along. Saturn's really blowing through it there. and then Uranus in Gemini, and also there's going to be a blue moon this Sunday, blue moon, full moon month at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, and that degree is a very important degree. It is conjunct exactly a fixed star of the archangel Antares, the rival of Mars, a big, huge, giant red star, which is also connected to one of the 4 main archangel stars in the sky, which is called Oriole or Uriel. It seems to always get ignored. It's sort of a protector of animals and things like that. But so it is right on that. So I thought that's important because whenever archetypally the sun, the moon hits one of those planets, or any of the planets hit those stars, I mean, it also resonates with all the other 4 main archangel stars. So I might just do a workshop actually for this Sunday, because a blue moon is rare, not that rare, but it's nice. So feels like it would be a good thing to do. And I'm a Sag, and Jupiter's going to enter Leo, so we have to get ready to get all fired up, right? Okay, so let's see if you have Aries now. Of course, everybody knows their sun sign. If you know your moon sign, your rising sign, or even if you know where any of your planets are, you can use the card that I'm going to pull for Aries to give you some insights into what's going on. So to celebrate World Tarot Day, we thank the people who created the tarot. It was originally just a game, like a card game. It then became configured as a mystical tradition much later on. Okay, so Aries. All right. Okay. So this card. Now, I use this deck specifically for this card, and it does represent, the tarot is based on the mystical Kabbalah, and so there are 10 Sephiro, or stages, you would call them, potencies on the tarot. That's a whole deep dive to go into the Kabbalah and what it means. It's kind of very beautiful teachings, actually. And there was an extra Sephiro, which is the bridge between the top 3, 1, 2, 3, the top of the tree of life. It's like an upward pointing triangle. And archetypally, the first card in the tarot, the Magician, is number 1 at the top, right? The second one is the High Priestess on the right, and then the third is the Empress. So those 2 feminine, and then 1, the Magician, Mercury, could be seen as being kind of both masculine and feminine energies. Those are considered to be what they call supernal energies. Sort of, they're still at the top of the tree, but they're kind of like the top of the worlds, right? And so this card, called Da'at, is an invisible Sephiro that is a bridge. It's like the rainbow bridge in a way between the lower 7 Sephiro, which you could tie to the 7 chakras, of course. So it's the go-between. And I like to call this the calling card from your holy guardian angel, which is the whole purpose of the tarot. It is, archetypal telling in pictures. I mean, this is how I work with the tarot. There's different interpretations, of course, that starting at 0, the Fool, the wisest of all the cards in the deck, which represents your soul. The Fool represents the soul bravely stepping out off the cliff into incarnation again. And because the Fool is also number 22, the end, it's the end and the beginning, it's the infinite round. It already knows everything. Your soul has already experienced everything. It is like the divine child, the golden child. So this is where you step into manifestation, into incarnation, okay? And so this card here represents a bridge into those higher realms, the higher consciousness. So that is the whole point of the tarot, going from the 0 right through the number 1, the Magician, to the High Priestess, to the Empress, to the Emperor, to the Hierophant. This is more modern interpretations. Number 5, the Hierophant. 6, the Lovers. 7, the Chariot. Now there's that 8, 11 thing. Some people see 8 as strength. Some people see it as justice. Then 9 is the Hermit. And then we get into the next realm of numbers. 10, the Wheel of Fortune. 11 would be justice or strength, depending on which system you're working with. 12 is the Hangman. 13 is death. 14 is temperance traditionally, or it's called art or alchemy in this deck. 15, the Devil. 16, the Tower. 17, the Star. 18, the Moon. 19, the Sun. 20 is Judgment. That's one of the 3, what they call special, I don't know what you call them. Technically, I like to call them initiation cards, which is the Fool, the Hangman, and number 20. Those are called maternal letter cards, sorry. And then 21 is the world or the universe. So, and then 22 is the Fool. So it describes the whole journey, archetypal journey, in 22 symbols that you are going to be initiated through. Okay, so this is like the bridge. Okay, so when this card shows up, Aries, I like to make it seem that your higher self is there. This is a new beginning for you. You've got all that energy, Saturn, Neptune, new dreaming, whole new way of bringing in a spiritual aspect. Neptune is still spirituality, whatever sign it's going through, dreaming, imagination, compassion. So you have to connect with your higher self. Okay. So how do you do that? You know, Saturn is giving you some discipline. It is giving you some tools, let's say, to help you to do that. So I would be aware of your dreaming and really listening in and tuning into that. Okay, so Taurus. All right. So Taurus. Now, because I just met a Taurus today who said finally that Uranus had left her sign, but Chiron is going to enter Taurus. So for Tauruses for the next 4.5 years, there's the card of Taurus. Okay, so this is very nice when the synchronicity shows up. So Taurus, you get to be in your own element. You get to be the Hierophant, the high priest, the Pope of your own life. You get to be your own spiritual authority, let's put it that way. So it's time to speak your truth. I mean, I like this deck because it's quite feminine. There's Isis in front of the goddess Isis in front of the masculine spiritual authority, which is behind her. So it's kind of informing her, but she's speaking her truth, right? So the energy of Taurus is about manifestation. It's about being in the body. It's about enjoying, right? So, you know, on an archetypal level for Taurus, then, you know, all that Aries energy is happening in your 12th house. So this might be some innate hidden qualities that you need to bring forward. It might be a big gift that's coming to you, I would say as well, Taurus, or you need to start making more beauty in your life. You know, may you walk in beauty, may you surround yourself in beauty, may you give away your beauty, Taurus, okay? All right. Whoops, my cards are flying all over the place. Okay, so Geminis. Now, for all Geminis, for the next 7 years, Uranus is going to really speed things up there. It's like the big cosmic whoopee cushion, or you're all going to go to outer space, right? And you get the Hermit here. So this is really an interesting synchronicity because the Hermit is Virgo energy. Gemini and Virgo are all what's called mutable signs. And so this is, you know, Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So again, for a Gemini, it's got to remember to do the work, to integrate, you know, because Uranus and all this air, fire energy era that we're in right now is going to make things just stir things up really fast. You know, like my symbol is if you blow, you know, the air blowing on the fire just makes the bonfire higher, you know, or it can blow it out. So the danger of getting burned out or too inflated or too enraged or, you know, too Gemini like, you know, that's, you know, too much in that polarity is not a good thing. So it's a good thing that I think the Hermit has come up here, because the Hermit is about being grounded and about doing the work and serving others and remembering to finish what you start. Okay. So the gift of the Hermit might mean you have to start saving money. You might have to be living more simply, living back to the earth. Maybe this is a signal to move to the country, to, you know, to pay attention to the details, to get things done, you know, to take your work seriously, to listen to your gut instincts, I would say, you know, so be careful about being too inflated in your head, always remembering to go back to the body, because the body never lies, you know. Because things might be more anxiety provoking as well with all the fire and air, because it's just so fast moving. I think for everybody, you know, Gemini, how we have to think, how we have to communicate needs to be very grounded in reality. Okay. All right. So the number 9, the Hermit, needing time to be alone. Okay. Also, that's very important. You know, Geminis are big social butterflies. You got to remember to take time to integrate. This is an important thing. We're getting blasted with so much information. Take time to integrate, to digest one thing before you jump off to doing, you know, more stuff. All right. So Cancer. So I see people saying, I got to put my glasses on to see the comments. So please comment and let me know where you are. Okay. Aries rising, Cap Sun. Okay. Fire and Earth there. Hello, Tara from Australia. Okay. Yeah, the Australians. Very nice. Okay. I know it's, well, I guess it's the morning there next day for you. All right. So Cancerians. And, you know, we're not that far. This year is going so bizarrely fast. We're not that far actually for the summer solstice. So Cancers. You want to get your last bit in before Jupiter leaves Cancer at the end of June. Okay, so Cancer, you get the card of the moon here. So this is Pisces, and this is the 18. The number 18 in Hebrew means life. It's traditionally chaya, or an animal. It means life, wildlife. So the moon is calling you to do some deep unconscious work, to look at your shadows, to face a lot of fears that you have going through, because this is like the dark night of the soul. Okay, so Cancers, maybe Saturn and Neptune are really freaking you out there. Saturn is making things hard for you. It's making you jump through hoops. It's like, yes, food costs a fortune with Saturn squaring Cancer in general. And everything is costing more. And how are you going to feed the children? And how are you going to feed yourself? So this card is really a test of your faith. It's really about, Jupiter's in Cancer. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. Do you believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel? It's also a card about rebirth. So you want to think about, where do I want to explore new territory in my life, right? Also really paying attention to your dreams, to your intuition a lot, really meditating, really going into a much more deep dive into yourself. Also charity, even though we may be struggling with the cost of things being so high, especially here in Canada, often it's good to give back. Give to charity because that's a sign from the universe that there's always abundance, okay? So trusting the dark side of the moon, your unconscious, yes, you can play that Pink Floyd song, but really looking deep into your imagination, so there can be some very important synchronicities happening for you if you pay attention, Cancer. So, okay, those cards. All right. So Leos, now you have to get ready, Leo. Your big year for big Leos coming up here. You're going to blow the roof off. Okay. So for everybody who's Leo sun, moon, rising sign, wherever you have Leo planets, all the boomers have Pluto and Leo, of course. It's going to be a big, expansive year. And the key with Leo is to remember to do what's in your heart. Express your heart. It's going to be very strong-willed, very much like partying, very light. People are going to want to celebrate. Okay, but big ego. So be careful of that big hair. We want to be the best Leos we can, which is about, really opening up our hearts to each other. Okay, and you get the Hangman. So the Hangman is one of those initiatory cards, the number 12. Most of these, what they call maternal letter special 3 cards, the Fool, the Hangman, and 20 Temperance, sorry, not Temperance, 20 Judgment Day, can be related to the outer planets. Now, traditionally, that's not the case. So this one, though, is very much connected to Neptune. You can very much see the sacrificial victim, the scapegoat. That's the dark side of Pisces energy in this, the Christ, sacrificing himself for your sins, right? So Leo, there may be some letting go of some ego stuff, let's put it that way, or some contortions, or some mixed up, entanglements that you need to free yourself from. That's my sense. My sense is like it's a whale caught in a net. You need somebody to come and rescue you out of that, or you have to go and rescue yourself to get yourself free. So it may be needing to make a sacrifice. Usually you want the gods to help you. Leo's got the best, it's got the sun on its side. You want to give back. So this is about sacrifice. What am I willing to give up to get something back? Okay. Also, again, cutting off your head, turning things upside down. Things are not the way they seem. Like, look at it from a totally new perspective. That's what the Hangman is really all about. And not being the scapegoat. Okay. Leos usually aren't, but there may be some unconscious stuff going on there. You maybe really want to look at your ego and what's going on there, and also your dreams, because this can be related to Pisces energy, and this is the symbol of Odin, who voluntarily tied himself upside down on the world tree to get to channel the runes. So maybe there's some big psychic message waiting for you out there. Okay, all right. So Virgo. Okay, let me see if there's some more. Sorry, I'm not talking very clearly here. Some more comments here. Leo moon. Okay. All right. So now we're on to Virgo. Okay. So again, Virgos are being squared by Uranus in Gemini. So you got to be aware of that for the next 7 years. Okay. So opening your mind, maybe letting go of being so obsessively OCD about things. Okay. So Virgos, let's see what you got. Okay, you get this number 20. So this is the other, one of the other, these maternal letter cards that I was talking about. Okay, so this is the Judgment Day card. Traditionally, it looks very different. This is the Thoth deck, so it's a very different interpretation of the cards. It's usually the Archangel Gabriel blowing his trumpet on Judgment Day and the dead rising again. So for Virgos, this is a symbol of the old self dying. Okay, now maybe Uranus is what's going to do it, because Uranus, air sign, you're ruled by Mercury. There is that, symbiosis there. Letting go of your mind, blowing your mind, letting go of old habits, like old anxieties, old things, old patterns that were holding you back. Okay. It's funny, as I'm looking at this card right now, it seems to be some kind of a Kali dancing, but in a whole different spectrum of colors. So this is kind of interesting. I'm kind of channeling this. It looks like this green goddess who's dancing, actually, although traditionally this is about the god Horus, the child god Horus, coming in to rule this new aeon or new age that we're going into. These cards were channeled in the early 1900s. And they are pretty spiritual cards, actually. So the number 20, Judgment Day. Stop judging yourself. Virgos are really good at that. Stop judging everything else. And let your childlike self rise. This is about doing inner child work. If you've had a rough childhood, play with your child. Let that child come out and play. All children love to make art, they love to dress up, they love to act out, so let that self, feed that part of yourself, Virgo, okay, and get ready for entirely new beginnings. Okay, so Libras. Okay, now Libras, of course, you've got that opposition, Saturn and Neptune and Jupiter squaring you too from late Cancers as well. All right, so let's see what you got here. Libra, you get the card of the Sun. All right, so the card of the Sun, Libra, is the sun is going to shine on you. This is very positive energy. It's about joy. It's about what makes you happy. It's about being connected to the source, your own source. It's about following the sun. Yes, finally it was sunny here in Toronto. It's been really horrible weather here. And it's about playfulness. So this is the card that comes after the dark night of the soul. After your soul has been tested, you come out into the light. This is the reward. So you can see the little kids, the little children playing on the Mount Hope, Mount of Joy, celebrating the sun. And also they often have they have the 12 astrology signs there too. So kind of the whole and the source, and, remembering that you're all connected, that you can have everything you need. You're whole and complete inside of yourself. Okay. So I think for Libras with Saturn and Aries and Neptune and Aries, it's actually a really good thing for you. You can celebrate yourself in a much more positive way. So do what brings you joy. Okay. When you're happy, everybody's happy. Okay. So Scorpio. All right. So Scorpio, let's see what you got. Okay. You get the Chariot. So Scorpios. So when Leo enters Scorpio, it's going to square. Leo is a fixed sign. It's a fixed fire sign. It's going to square the other fixed signs, which is Earth sign Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, you're going to get this hard aspect from Jupiter, but that can be a good thing. Jupiter is always a good thing. Can be too much of a good thing, of course. Now, this can be looking for a new home. This can be you're on the road, you're moving, there's family issues. There's been a lot of deep, family stuff that's been dredged up. And now maybe you're having a bit of maybe it wasn't such a good thing to reject my family, my mother. This is Cancer energy here. And maybe I went too far. Maybe I have to kind of come back into some kind of balance here. So the Chariot is all about honoring the mother, your home, your roots, your ancestors, feeding yourself, your children, your community as well, and staying in the driver's seat. So for Scorpio, if it's been seeming very, very volatile to you, and especially today with Mars and Pluto, both of your rulers in a square aspect, this card is telling you to get centered. Get centered, because the wheel of karma here, or time, this is what they do in the Kala chakra. The Tibetan Buddhists create this wheel of time, and then they make it out of sand, and then they just disperse it to the wind. You have to feel that you're holding the center. Okay, you're holding the center. Okay, and also the golden armor. It's a good visualization to put on the golden armor. It's very protective. Actually, gold is Leo's metal. And visualizing yourself as being protected from all the onslaught of all the crazy stuff going on right now. Also, this is a card of fertility. Sorry, I have to take a drink. A card of fertility. Nurturing, like something that you're conceiving, something that you need to carry full term. And the golden child, again, this is allusion to the golden inner child here. So healing your inner child so you can move forward and roll with the waves. Okay. So Sagittarius, sorry, I'm just gonna have another drink here. I have been talking nonstop for the last 3 hours. So Sagittarius, so I'm a Sag, I'm a double Sag. Very excited for Jupiter to enter Leo and trine all the fire signs. So Sag, you've got the card of death here. All right. So again, there's some sacrifices, there's some things that are going to have to die off before you can move forward. Okay. So Scorpio energy, some deep emotional stuff that you still have to tend to. Could be finance as well. Scorpio has to do with finances. Maybe you need to get your finances in order. Maybe you have to dig deeper. Maybe you have to look deeper. Maybe you have to get the heart of what your soul really wants. Okay. And this is maybe about facing mortality. Facing mortality really, you know, the reason in North America people don't want to deal with death is because they're not really dealing with their lives. And using death as an ally is a very famous shamanic initiation that my teacher taught me, right? So using death as an ally. If this was your last day or your last month, what's the most important things you put on the front burner there, Sagittarius? Okay, so think about that, because Sagittarius, Jupiter in Cancer, even though Jupiter is exalted, it's been very emotional for all of us. And so maybe it's a time to kind of get all that emotional debris together and make a big bonfire when Jupiter enters Leo and burn a lot of stuff up. Okay, so Capricorns. All right, so for all of you Capricorns with Saturn and Aries, lots of new beginnings for you. Okay, and you get the card of Aries here. There's the Emperor. So Capricorns, again, pushing that new beginning. This is Aries. Where are you responsible? Where are you the king? Where are you the boss? Be the big boss here, Capricorn. I know you always want to be the boss, but this can also mean a peak. So for a lot of Capricorns, you may want to, depending on how old you are, of course, say that's it. I've been there, I've done that. Maybe I have to do a whole new thing. This is about being more commanding, more fiery. Capricorn's an earth sign. This is about integrating fire, spirit, passion, desire into your life. So this can represent a mentor, an older person. It can represent your father if you're a female and you want to be in a heterosexual relationship. This can indicate an important man coming into your life. So this could be somebody who's coming to help you as well. And remembering to use the 4 elements. So fire, earth, air, water. Our bodies are made up of those. The astrology signs are related to those 4 elements. Remembering to always use those, okay, anything you want to initiate. And initiation is the name of the game, Capricorn. You can't do the same old thing anymore, okay? Saturn also rules Aquarius, right? So Pluto's kind of the boss there until 2044. So again, everything is new. So you're ready to start excavating a new beginning. Okay, so Aquarius. So let's see what Aquarius has here. Okay. You get the universe. So this is the number 21 here, the universe or the world. This indicates, Aquarius, that there's kind of a goal, maybe the long-term goal that you have to keep in your mind here now. Like, where am I going? What's the end game here? Now, this can relate to relationships, can relate to a job, long-term goals. Remember that, again, traditionally Aquarius is ruled by Saturn, and I do use both rulerships. I think it's important, and I think it brings in a nice balance, So again, Uranus just entering Gemini, well, maybe this old part of your life is over, okay? And maybe you have to face that and get ready to integrate all the hard lessons you've been through to go to the next level, okay? So this is Saturn on this card, right? So going through all the school of hard knocks, the obstacles, the testing, all of that stuff, now you can say, I've been there, I've done that. Okay, I'm ready to start a brand new game, okay? So Aquarius, again, being responsible, being disciplined, it's still important for you. Stand up for what you feel is right. Okay, so now we got Pisces. Yeah, I wanted to keep this short here because it is kind of late. So Pisces, all right, let's see what Pisces has here. Okay, you get the Lovers, very nice. You get the number 6 here. So for Pisces, especially because your ruling planet Neptune, the modern rulership Neptune, is in Aries. Again, everything is new. I'm sorry if I sound like I'm repeating myself, but that's where we're at. So again, new relationship coming into your life, great. Okay, new partnerships, new duos, new branching out, new doing two things at once, new kind of it's Gemini energy, right? Now, Pisces and Gemini are squaring each other. So again, the challenge is to see things from a whole other perspective. I mean, ideally, Gemini is like a big kid who's asking all the questions, why is the sky blue? What's this? What's that? What's the relationship between things? So for Pisces, you have to really investigate relationships, okay? It's also about self-love. The number 6 in the tarot is at the center of the tree of life. Loving yourself first is super important, and loving yourself in a new way. So this is a detached, it brings in more detached energy, more airy energy for you, which I think is a good thing. And, Neptune in Aries is fire, right? You're not used to dealing with fire. It's a totally different element. It's the opposite of water. So, everything is in flux, everything is changing. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. But do what you love to do, be more creative, initiate new things, listen to other people. This is a card of curiosity as well. So you're still kind of in the beginning of this phase. Somebody was just saying Mars square Pluto. It was exact earlier today already. But it's lingering. It's lingering on. So for Pisces here, are you doing what you love to do? Okay, looking for partnerships. Are you ready to start a whole new love affair? Are you ready starting to fall in love with your life? Okay. So again, Uranus and Gemini squaring you. Open your mind. Open your mind. Just receive. Pisces is still as intuitive as it always was. That doesn't change. Has there been new dreams? Are you dreaming about your beloved? Are you dreaming about future things that you want to do? Pay attention to that. It may be, the messages may be coming to you in a whole new way. Okay. All right, everybody. So thank you for being here. I didn't want to keep this here too long because it is kind of late here. So I'm going to go over your comments. Somebody just said Mars Pluto will be exact in an hour. So yeah, so I hope you've enjoyed this. And I will be going live probably on the 30th, the day before the full moon, because everybody's going to be celebrating the full moon. So that's on Saturday. Yeah, and the month has flown by. So I will set that up. And so if you want to come and join me for my preview of June, astrologically and tarot wise, I will see you then. So if you have any personal questions, you want to get a personal reading with me, you can get in touch with me at tarottarot.com. And I want to wish you all a blessed World Tarot Day. And thank you so much. Okay. And we will see you soon. Bye. Blessings.